BookRiot recently released their Read Harder challenge for 2016. Again, there are 24 items on this list. I did not participate last year. I've never participated in a reading challenge, but it seems like the cool new thing to do, so I think I will try to do this for 2016. Let's look at what the items are. Read a horror book. That will just happen naturally for me. Read a nonfiction book about science. I've been trying to read more nonfiction. I don't know so much about science. I've been reading a lot of parenting books that are nonfiction. So this will probably be an actual challenge for me. Read a collection of essays. I don't care about essays, so that will be hard. Read a book out loud to someone else. I read probably, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 books out loud to my children every single day. So this will just happen on day one. Read a middle grade novel. I have a couple of these on my to-be-read list, but this will be a challenge for me. I don't normally read that young. I like young adult, but middle grade, not really. Read a biography. This will also be difficult for me. Read a dystopian or post-apocalyptic novel. That's pretty easy. A lot of what I read is that anyway. Read a book originally published in the decade you were born. I'm really bummed about this one because I just finished in my quest, my self-challenge to read everything that Stephen King has published chronologically by published date. I'm now almost into the 2000s, so I already finished that, and I'll have to pick something other than Stephen King for the decade I was born. Listen to an audiobook that has won an Audie Award. I was looking at the list of 2014 winners already. I think that I will probably listen to The Goldfinch for that. Read a book over 500 pages long. That happens pretty naturally for me. A lot of what I read ends up being pretty long. Read a book under 100 pages. At first I was like, that's not going to happen. I can't think of anything that I read under 100 pages, but I think technically a short story or a novella should count. 100 pages is really short. Read a book by or about a person that identifies as transgender. I'm going to have to do some Googling to figure this out. Read a book that is set in the Middle East. I don't know about that. I feel like everything that's set in the Middle East is contemporary fiction, which I do not enjoy, but this is a challenge, right? Read a book that is by an author from Southeast Asia. That should be okay if I can. I'm hoping to avoid contemporary fiction, but we'll see. Read a book of historical fiction set before 1900. Super easy, in the bag for me. That's a lot of what I read. Read the first book in a series by a person of color. I will need some help figuring that one out. I just don't pay attention very much to the authors that I'm reading. I bet I do a lot of this naturally and I just don't know because I don't care. I just want to read good books. Read a non-superhero comic that debuted in the last 3 years. In the bag, you guys know I read a lot of comics. Read a book that was adapted into a movie, then watch the movie, debate which is better. My husband is going to do this with me, this challenge. And he was talking about reading the first book of the Divergent series, or it's called Divergent, I don't know. But we've already watched the movies and I really want to do something new, so we'll see if I can find something else for us to read and then watch. Read a nonfiction book about feminism or dealing with feminist themes. Read a book about religion, fiction, or nonfiction. Easy enough. Read a book about politics in your country or another, fiction or nonfiction. This is really funny. I was saying to my husband that I think that a lot of the historical fiction that I read about monarchy should count because that is technically about politics, right? Read a food memoir. I am totally clueless. I don't even know what a food memoir is. Read a play. That would be easy. I can read another Shakespeare that I haven't read before. Read a book with a main character that has a mental illness. That's hard. So this is the Read Harder Challenge for 2016. I have 2 copies of this printed for myself. I think first what I'm going to do is fill the sheet out in, one copy, fill it out in what I think I can read to fulfill all of these categories, and then I have another one to do with what I actually end up reading. So this should be interesting. This is only 24 items. Goodreads says that at the end of 2015, I'm closing in on over 400 books read this year. but I do have a life, guys. Don't judge me, because I think at least over half of those are either children's books that I read to my boys, or they are comics slash manga slash graphic novels. At least half, maybe 2/3 even. I haven't looked in a while, but so I've read over 400 books, technically speaking, in 2015. So 24 books should be pretty easy for me. I'm also going to try to take as many of these from what's already on my TBR, just because my TBR is so long and I can't seem to knock it out. It's like for every one book that I read, I feel like I add 5 more to my TBR. It is just never ending. Life isn't long enough. So I'm going to take as many of these items off of my TBR as I can, but then I feel like the entire point of this is to obviously challenge yourself to read things that you wouldn't normally read. So then by that virtue alone, they shouldn't be on my TBR already, because I don't want to read them necessarily. So we'll see where this ends up. I'll update you guys when I get this penciled in for what I think I'm gonna read. And let me know if you're doing this challenge this year too, or if you're doing a different challenge. Let me know below, because I'm pretty interested in this whole thing right now as a way to kind of step out of my comfort zone. So thank you for watching. I'll update you later. Bye, YouTube.